On 9th April, we have Saint WALDETRUDIS, a model for all Christians. The history of the Catholic Church overflows with thousands of saints, each one a model of virtue and sanctity, an image of Christ in the world. Most are priests or religious. However, many saints were married, offering a different model of holiness for Christ's flock. And today's saint, whose name we must have rarely heard, falls into a more select group of saints, those who were married and then later became a member of a religious order. As such, the life of Saint WALDETRUDIS has lessons for all Catholics, no matter what vocation they are called to. Like many historical figures, we know little of the early life of WALDETRUDIS. She remains shrouded in the events of the 7th century. We do not know when she was born, but it is known that she died sometime between 686 and 688. She came from a family of saints and in turn produced more saints. Her parents and sister are honored as saints, and her husband and 4 children likewise share the beatific vision. Her husband, Maldegir, also known as Saint Vincent, was a count in France during the tumultuous reign of King Dagobert I of France. King Dagobert was notorious for his sexual immorality. As Maldegir was a courtier to the king and a holy man, it is not surprising that he decided to escape the immoralities of the court for the refuge of an abbey. His wife, WALDETRUDIS, longed for the same peace of Christ away from civil society. Their home was a place of sanctity. WALDETRUDIS and Maldegir had 4 children, one of whom died young, either soon after birth or before he reached his 7th birthday, while the other 3 grew up and entered the religious life. WALDETRUDIS and Maldegir used their riches to help the poor. The couple was well known for their charity and piety long before entering the religious life. Once their children had left the home, the pious parents likewise entered the religious life. Some sources indicate that WALDETRUDIS urged her husband to embrace monasticism, though he likely considered it prior to her influence. Their second vocation was, like a spiritual retirement, a permanent retreat. After Maldegir left in 656 for an abbey in Haumont that he had built years earlier, WALDETRUDIS took for her mentor a holy man named Dislenus, who is also a saint. She also devoted her time to caring for the sick and the poor. After 2 years, she retreated from the world, hoping that the rest of her life might be one of quiet prayer and penance. She took religious vows, witnessed by her mentor, and secluded herself in the hilly forest of modern-day Belgium. However, as is often the case, WALDETRUDIS' holiness attracted both men and women who sought her out for her spiritual wisdom, her charity, and her reputation as a miracle worker. Soon so many women wanted to follow her that she abandoned the hermitage lifestyle and founded a convent, around which would form the town of Mons, Belgium. She lived out the rest of her life in Mons, though she never took for herself the title of abbess, preferring to remain a simple nun. Following her death in 688, pilgrims flocked to her gravesite, and many miracles were attributed to her name. As Saint Waldetrudis had both a secular and sacred vocation, she serves as a model for every Christian. For those of you who are married, her fidelity to her husband and her children reminds you of your own duties towards your families. The sanctity of her children indicates her holiness as a mother. Like Waldetrudis, parents should strive to make their homes into sanctuaries for future saints, modeling for them the virtues, especially those of chastity and charity. Often in her charity, Saint Waldetrudis found she had given perhaps too much to the poor, to the point of emptying her financial reserves. Yet, because of her prayers, there was always enough when someone came for help. Following her example, we should not be afraid to ask God to help us in our acts of charity and in our own daily needs. Those of us who are in the religious life can see in Waldetrudis' devotion to the poor, sick, and needy a model for our own works of mercy. Consecrated religious should rally to our order's charisms, following them with love, so that Christ's love might shine through us. Just as Waldetrudis accepted followers despite her desire to remain a hermitess, so should we pray for the humility to abandon our preconceived notions of what is best for us in favor of God's loving plan. Few Catholics today have even heard the name Waldetrudis, yet she remains a model for all Catholics, whether in religious or secular life. We do not need to enter a religious order to be a saint, nor do we need to live in secular society to change the world. God calls all of us, whether married or single, priest or religious, to greatness, to sanctity. May we see in Waldetrudis a spiritual model, a Christian in the fullest sense of the word.